And you might not see how these small actions lead to bigger results like in the moment, but when some time has passed and you're able to kind of like zoom out, so to speak, you'll see that it's made like a huge impact because you consistently built trust with your customers and your clients and work towards your big goals, day after day. So it's just baby steps that like compound to bigger things.
Welcome to this week's episode of the Online Creator Podcast. My name is Kim, your podcast host, business mentor, and audio storyteller. This show is a space to inspire through conversations and community to help us keep connected, keep inspired, and keep moving towards our goals. Expect to hear honest conversations and real-life experiences from entrepreneurs at every stage of business and from a wide range of industries. Find your confidence, see what is possible, and build the legacy that you have dreamed of. Let's get started. Hi, Madeline. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today.
Thanks so much for having me on. I'm excited to be here. I love your podcast.
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot. Before we get started, let's just introduce who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
Okay, so I am Madelyn Furlong. I'm the owner of Madeline Victoria Co. I help small businesses create a marketing strategy to attract more customers and increase profit while making a local impact. I've noticed over the years that a lot of small businesses have a lull in their growth or, they just feel stuck and confused in their marketing. So my process is, super simple. We define their goals, make a plan to reach them, and then I teach them specific marketing strategies to execute. And then the last thing that we really focus on is creating systems to take tasks off their plate and make it, easy for their marketing.
Cool. And I want to dig into a little bit about how you got into being an entrepreneur because I read somewhere that you said you became an accidental entrepreneur. Can you share a little bit about your story?
Yes. I love telling people this because I never planned to own my own business. Like it was never in the cards. It was kind of an accident. But looking back now, there were definitely signs along the way. Ever since I was a kid, I think I just had this like entrepreneurial mindset. My dad had his own business. So I got a front row seat to see what that looked like, day in and day out. And I knew building a business wasn't easy, but I also saw how you could have freedom over your schedule and your finances, and do work that mattered and that you enjoyed. So I really fell in love with that idea, but I didn't realize it at the time. And again, looking back, like I see when I was little, I was always dreaming up business ideas, whether it was opening a bakery, which is really ironic and hilarious because I am not a good baker at all. But I was always also, when I was little, making PowerPoint presentations for my parents. I distinctly remember like making one PowerPoint to convince them to get a puppy. It worked, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
And then in high school, I actually kind of started like a side business. But again, running my own business full time, like was never in my long-term plan. And if you know me, you know that I love my plans. I stick to them. I was still determined to start my corporate career right after graduating from college. But I mean, as we all know, things never quite go as planned. And then once I graduated, I decided to work like several part-time jobs over the next couple of years, just so I could continue to test out like my side hustle. And it was exclusively like social media management at the time. And I didn't want to give up on it. Doors were opening, so I just wanted to give it a fair try. And then eventually my business grew so much that I was able to quit my part-time office job. And I went full-time as a marketing strategist. And here we are.
Oh, that's so cool. Did you take marketing or business? Like what did you take in college?
So I was actually an English major, but I had a internship with a marketing office. And I think like when I did that, I was just kind of like, oh my goodness, I really enjoy this and I really like it. And I think honestly, majoring in English helped me with that because I mean, you're looking at stories all the time and you're learning how to write. And so figuring out how you can use stories to reach people and how you can
Yes.
write strategies. And even if it's something as simple as like, an Instagram caption or website copy, I think it all kind of like worked together. So it ended up being good in the long run.
110%. Yes, 110%. Having those skills to bring to this is so important. And sometimes I don't think we give enough credit to what we have learned through our part-time jobs, through our schooling, through all those experiences that we can bring into this entrepreneurial space, right? It's so cool and so amazing when you start tapping into that and believing in your skill set. So are there any things that you did before you quit your job? Because I think a lot of people that are listening are at that stage of how long do I hang on to my job before I do this full time? Like, do you have any tips or strategies that you used before you went full time?
Right. Yes. So I think the first big thing that I did was make a plan. So I kind of laid out, okay, I want to hit this goal on this month. And I also saved a lot of money just in case, it made me feel a lot better and a lot more comfortable leaving, a steady paycheck because I was like, well, if things, go south, I have these savings to fall back on. And luckily, that didn't, I ended up not needing that. But it was just like a big comfort for me to have that there. And then I talked to a lot of other business owners and people who have done this before. And I think, having that community to surround you and to encourage you, that was a really big deal before I like put in my notice at work and quit. And so I think just having those things working for you behind the scenes and not just jumping into something without a plan, I think that's really, really helpful.
Well, and you mentioned that your dad's an entrepreneur, so like that's a massive influence. I didn't grow up with entrepreneurs in my house, so or even really around me. So it was like I was told to, get the job and stay in there as long as you can and pull out that pension. And I was like, there's got to be something more. Like I need to be challenged. And so it's so great that you had that right within your own family. Is there anyone in this online space that has influenced you? And can you name one or two?
Oh yeah, for sure. I have so many mentors and people that I look up to. Holly Haynes is one person who helped me tremendously. She just encouraged me the whole way and still continues to. I know she's been on your podcast before, but I tend to, as an entrepreneur, I tend to overwork myself. And I know a lot of people in this space do as well. So just implementing Holly's guidelines and tips to take control of my schedule has helped me a lot. And then going along with that, I would also say just like surrounding myself with, other people in the online space, making it a point to, if I see somebody on Instagram that lives locally, DMing them and say, hey, like, could you meet up for coffee? Just being able to talk to them has been really encouraging and has given me that final push, or it gave me that final push into entrepreneurship because I mean, let's face it, this type of work comes with a lot of ups and downs. So having people who have been there and who are working in similar situations day in and day out is like one of the best things that you can do.
100%. Holly is so, she's just so easy to talk to, and she's such a wealth of knowledge. So I can only imagine that being part of her world has really supported and helped you. And I also noticed that you are a fan of Amy Porterfield, and you read her book. Did you
Yay.
enjoy that book? Did you get some like tips and tricks out of it for sure?
Oh my goodness, yes. She is amazing. I mean, that book is packed so full. Looking through it, I have so many things that are underlined and so many like sticky notes and tabs in it. She just, oh my goodness. I would love to just like, go out for coffee with her and just soak up all that
Right.
knowledge. Her podcast is really cool too. And I've had a chance to listen to it a little bit. But yeah, her book, I would definitely recommend it, especially if, you are trying to quit your office job and like move into entrepreneurship. She gives a lot of like practical things that you can do
Hmm.
before moving into that.
Yeah, she was probably one of the first ones that I found online, and then I was like, "Oh," and then I started, like, digging into her world and then finding other people, and I was like, Wait a sec, like, this is insane," because I think there's more now that understand and know, but there's a lot of people around in my world that have no idea still what I do. They just right? They just think I'm doing a hobby. So I think it's, like, super cool that you also are tapping into your local network because even if you do like you mentioned that you come from a smaller community, like that's amazing that you've already had the opportunity to connect with a few people like locally and then to be able to lean on people online and find those good mentorship circles because that can be so powerful. Like that literally will propel you from like 0 to 8 quicker before, it can take us a long time. And I think a lot of us entrepreneurs are scrappy. And so we try to do as much as we can on our own. And that can be overwhelming and that can hold ourselves back, I guess is what I'm trying to say too. And uh, it's good that you found that really quickly because a lot of us don't. It takes us time. So that's a very good lesson to have learned. And it sounds like you've surrounded yourself with people that are like already a step ahead, which is amazing. So let's dig into more about what you do as a business marketing strategist. What are some affordable marketing tactics that you can implement? And I also think it's really important that we talk about like locally if you own a brick and mortar and in the online space because I think it can translate. And I would love to hear your perspective on that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I love talking about this. And you're right. It doesn't have to be just brick and mortar businesses, it can definitely extend to the online space. So, there are 3 tactics that I wanted to share with your listeners today. And then the first affordable marketing tactic I would encourage them to apply is just adding personal touches wherever and whenever they can. And what I mean by that is make your customers feel like they're the hero. If you do happen to own a brick and mortar business, you can remember your customers' names and give them personalized recommendations and even just bring up a tidbit from, your last conversation. Most of us absolutely love it when our favorite coffee shop remembers our go-to order. I know that I do.
I do
And this is
too.
why
That's the best.
yes, it is. It makes us feel like important and special. And like, here's the big one, like we belong. So I think just figuring out different ways that you can make your customer feel significant will just go a long way in marketing and business. And there are a lot of other ways that you can add personal touches to. And, they're all affordable and they seem simple, but they actually make a big difference. You can send a voice message on Instagram, or you can write a card to potential customers or even ones that have been with you for years. You can send a birthday card to them, just mail it on their birthday. You can even reach out randomly and see if there's anything extra that you can do. People are so, so grateful when you go the extra mile. I found this time and time again. I even know of a wedding photographer, and she asks brides their go to coffee order on their initial questionnaire. And then on the wedding morning, she brings the bride coffee and it has like the bride's future name written on the side of the cup. And I just
Wow.
love that.
That is
Yeah, it's
such a great example of how you can it's just the simple things, and I think we overthink that part too, right? Like, that's an amazing tip. I love that one.
Yes, I do too. When she told me that, I was like, this is exactly how you can make your customers, feel special. And the key is just to build their trust and show them that you care. And you can be super creative about that, which is really fun, I think. And then kind of going along with that, like the second marketing tactic that I tell my clients is think about creating a loyalty or referral program. I know a lot of people kind of shrink back, when I tell them that and they're like, "Oh, I don't really know about that," because everybody does that. But it can be really impactful and go a long way. And you've got to decide what that referral program is going to look like. Is it, giving 10% off their next purchase for referring a friend? Or maybe it's like exclusive early access to new products. And you could even potentially give away like a free gift. It just has to be something that's valuable for them, but also worthwhile for you. And then you can ask them, to share about it, like post about it on social media, put little info cards with the details in every new order that you give and tell customers about your referral program, like when you talk to them. I mean, one of the best ways to bring in new customers is by turning your other customers into cheerleaders. I like that phrase, customers into cheerleaders, because if your friend recommends something to you, you're much more likely to try something than maybe they, saw an ad on social media. And not to say that doesn't have its place, like ads can definitely be good, but when it's coming from somebody that it goes a long way. And then another kind of idea going along with referral programs, if you have an email list, which I think everybody should, you can share about a new incentive every few months to keep those referrals rolling in. And it doesn't take much time or money at all, but the returns are really, really worth it. And then the third kind of like final tactic that I wanted to share is collaborate with others. Earlier, we talked about finding people like in the online space and just people who are in similar, journeys is so impactful, not only from an encouragement standpoint, but also just like from a business standpoint as well. You know, collaboration could be you and another business hosting an event or pop up in your community if y'all are both local. Or it could be you and another business owner collaborating online. It's just someone who aligns with your brand and your target audience. And another option is to reach out to your customers. You can ask them to, try out a new product or a new service, and they can see how it helps them, and they can share about it, on social media or in real life. But just because they don't have, tens of thousands of followers online doesn't mean they can't impact their circles, their family and their friends and their followers. So it's really just pouring into your customers and making them, like I said, feel really special, and want to share about your products and or your services. Because if you give them a great experience, they're much more likely to recommend to other people. So yeah.
Yeah, no, those are great. And I want to dig into a couple more because you gave such a great example. I think people overlook or overthink the referral loyalty program too. And honestly, referrals in the past 3.5 years of myself being in the online space have been my best clients. Like literally the best people that I've worked with have been through word of mouth. And that's what you want. And then you also know then that you're treating your customers and you're giving them what they need in order for that to be coming in, right? So, but in order to keep that kind of going, someone told me just recently that I think it was like moo.com or whatever, where you can get cards made and you don't have to get like a big order, but you can really personalize them. And then, with your business logo or whatever on it, because like we don't really have traditional business cards anymore, but it's still nice to give somebody local like in your community, if you want to work with more people and get that referral base going, a way to like touch base with them and give them a card and say, hey, this is what I do, who I am. And I just thought that was a nice touch. I never really thought about that, but I love that. And you're right. It really does matter when people remember you and the little things too, like leaving a voice note versus a text, like as an online business owner. I love when other business owners reach out with a voice note, but I'm also like an audio girl, so I love hearing people's voices. You can really I feel like you can hear their passion and what they're excited about and who they are a little bit versus just a, "Hi, nice to meet you. My name is." So, I think those are a couple of really great tips. And also, like, yeah, not to overthink the collaborative opportunities in the online space. Um, I think too, it doesn't matter how big your community is. It's really important to kind of check out what's happening locally too, because I think a lot of us now that, COVID's over and all those things, I think a lot of us are really trying to reach out to more in-person events. Are you seeing that and feeling that and where you are? And how do you try to find those opportunities?
Yes, people just crave connection, and I think COVID just really showed us that we have to have people, we have to be surrounded by people. One of the things that I have done is just, get on social media and ask like, "Hey, is there anybody local or do you know of anybody locally?" And like I told you earlier, I live in a small town, and so there might not be a lot of just like a ton of opportunities to meet new people and like network here, but there are other bigger towns, that I can go to. And I've actually found, several networking groups. I mean, there are other small businesses. And honestly, we just get together and we encourage each other. We have breakfast and it is, it's just really impactful. And then in that group, one person might be like, oh, well, my sister, she has a small business and she needs marketing help. Would you be able to help her? And then I might, be able to refer my family or friends to them as well. So I think just being super intentional, that's the biggest takeaway for me. It's just like being intentional, getting on social media, asking, if anybody wants to get coffee, or if there's not any small business groups near you, then creating your own. And it might take some time to, build it up. But I think when you do, like it'll be really worth it.
No, I agree. I agree. And it doesn't matter how big it is. Sometimes that's all we need is to reach out and to connect to like really sparks and generate some of those next business and marketing opportunities that could potentially help you grow. Yeah. So many good things. So many good things. Imagine this, a customized website design that is as unique as you are and done in 1 week. Think of us as your in-house website designer. We offer a semi-custom show-it website design that is ideal for the established coach, creative, online business owner who is ready to create a presence online and is ready to take action quickly. We build out a layout that nurtures your visitors, SEO best practices to help you get ranked in Google, development of 5+ pages to drive traffic, and training and launch support so that you can update your website after our time is done. You have the choice. You can keep spinning your wheels and flying by the seat of your pants, or you can have a strategically designed website that allows you to connect and convert, because that is what your business deserves. If you're interested in learning more, check out the link in the show notes to see if Website in a Week is the right fit for you. When you talk to clients and try to build and help them create that loyalty referral program, is there any advice on what part of that journey you should be trying to reach out to your current clients or past clients, or does it really matter? Like, it's just an opportunity that you shouldn't miss. I think I've heard like mixed kind of reviews on that, like when you should reach out and ask. And I would just love to know your take on it.
Yeah, so I definitely think starting with your current clients is
Mm.
good. That's what I've seen the most results with personally
Yeah.
and with my own client. But just first of all, again, giving them such a great experience that they want to share about it with others. That is the like absolute first thing that you should do. Make sure your customer service is excellent. Make sure your product is also excellent, product or service. And then, after a little bit of time, if you're a new business, you might want to wait just a few months at least to start that referral program. But then you can roll it out. But my clients usually reach out to their current customers or their current client base, and they just say, whether it's an email or if they see them in person, they just say like, "Hey, I am, unrolling this new referral program. I would love to hear your thoughts about it. Here's what I'm offering." And that's kind of what I've seen the most success with.
No, it totally makes sense to like already meet your customers where they're at, the ones that you're working with, because they're already excited about what they're working on with you. But I also think that other piece of advice of connecting with your email list and giving them a reason why, like an incentive, I think that's like brilliant and such a good tip to take away. So I also love hearing what favorite platform that you like to show up and market and promote your business on, because marketing is what we need to do. So is it Instagram, or do you like podcasts? Say like where do you like showing up consistently?
For me, it's Instagram and LinkedIn. I like Instagram because I think it's just a fun platform and it's good for connecting with your audience. When I was a social media manager, I was on Instagram all the time, spent, hours upon hours on there. And for my business, I love Instagram stories. And, I tell my clients as well, they're just like super fun to share behind the scenes stuff and just really connect with your followers. I feel like Instagram stories, they're just kind of in the moment. You don't have to put as much, I mean, they should still be thoughtful, but you don't have to stress out as much, I guess, about Instagram stories. They're just sort of fun. And then LinkedIn is a close second favorite for me. I used LinkedIn some in college, for building a resume or a work profile,
For
but
sure.
that was it. But over the past few months, I really grown to love it. And it's so much more than just career seeking. Like it's actually not as saturated as the other social media platforms out there. Plus, this led to a lot of really great connections. There's this whole other strategy on LinkedIn, which has been really fun for me to learn and to share with my clients. So, yeah, Instagram and then LinkedIn is a close second for me.
Yeah, I think that one is often overlooked as well because people are a little afraid. It's a little bit more. I always think of LinkedIn as like that more professional place where you have to, your copy should be a little bit more dressed up, but yet you can really search people locally too and build that network through LinkedIn really well. And yeah, I don't think it should be overlooked as well. Great tip on there. I know showing up consistently, marketing, and I'm sure working with your clients, this is something that keeps coming up over and over because even like myself, I can get stuck in like client work and then forget about, oh my gosh, I need to wear that marketing hat again. Like, how do you help your clients show up consistently? Do you have any good tips on on that piece because it can be like overwhelming when you are a solopreneur or maybe a team of two and you're trying to delegate all the things. Do you have any advice on that?
Yes. I love, sharing about consistency, and my business mentor, Holly, who I mentioned earlier, she has this quote, "It's consistency trumps talent. You don't have to be the best in the game, you just have to stay in it." And that quote has stuck with me over the years. Oh my goodness, I think about it every single day, and I have a little sticky note on my desk that has that quote. And something I tell my clients is to write down 3 things that they can do every day to grow their business. And, ideally, these actions align with their long-term goals that we've already set, during those first few initial meetings. But for some, an action that helps grow their business is setting a daily reminder on their phone to post some behind the scenes stories on Instagram or engage with their followers on social media right after lunch. And for others, it might be picking one of their goals, their long-term goals, and blocking out like 20 minutes on a calendar each day to make headway. And then for others, it's, sending that DM or that voice message to each new customer and just reaching out saying like, "Hey, thanks for, shopping at my store, or thanks for purchasing my services. I just wanted to check in, like, see if there's anything else you need." And you might not see how these small actions lead to bigger results like in the moment, but when some time has passed and you're able to kind of like zoom out, so to speak, you'll see that it's made like a huge impact because you consistently built trust with your customers and your clients and work towards your big goals, day after day. So it's just, baby steps that like compound to bigger things.
So many good tips there. And yeah, Holly's like, she's got the quote. I think that's such an important one for all of us to remember is that even sometimes when we have that self doubt creep in, like we have to trust in ourselves that we have a lot to offer. And sometimes it's just like we're just two steps ahead of what that client needs or wants, right? So remembering to show up as authentically as ourselves, bringing out our true, joy and excitement about what we do will really pay off, but making sure that we are showing up. Because nobody's
Absolutely.
going to find us if they can't see us, if they can't hear from us. If yeah, there's so many great ways to show up consistently. It doesn't have to feel so overwhelming. I love that you work locally, and I love that you also are online. Is there anything I missed that you would like to cover before we sign off? And also, where do people find you if they need support and help in their marketing piece of their business? Because I know most of us do.
Right. Well, we've covered a lot about marketing, but there's no way I can cover it all in 30 minutes.
No.
So, so if your listeners, want to master their marketing and want some extra tips and support, there are 2 ways that I can help. The first is you can download my free guide. It shares 3 ways that your business can attract local customers literally right now. Just DM me the words master your marketing and I'll send it to you. It's totally free. Like I said, my Instagram is at Madeline Victoria Co. And then if you want extra help, the second way I can sort of support you is I offer one-on-one coaching. So this has been a game changer for my clients who are small business owners because they feel stuck or trapped a lot of times in their business. So I help get them unstuck and help them create and execute a marketing strategy that actually works for them. So um,
So good. And do you work in like shorter containers or longer containers? If somebody wanted you one on one to help really boost them with that coaching, what does that look like?
yeah, so it's when people sign on with me, we do coaching for 3 months. And then after that, they can decide if they want to continue monthly coaching or I have some other resources and things for them. They can, join my Boxer group or my Slack community. So they still get support, but it just might not be like as in depth as coaching.
That's so great. I love that people have options, and I love that 3 month because it gives you a chance to really build some momentum, right? To
Right.
see some progress before you let them go, or and that you have other ways to continue to connect. So that's so great. Before I let you go, I loved this conversation. I just think working with you would be a great opportunity to really boost those skills in our own businesses. What does success for you and your business look like? And I know. Um, this might be a new chapter. I don't like asking, what do you see in the next 5 years? Because this online space keeps evolving and changing so much. But what does success mean to you right now?
Success means for me, it's freedom. It's financial freedom and control over my schedule. Those things are super important to me. Working in an office job, you're there from, 8 to 5, at least in most cases. And I just hated that I couldn't go outside and even see the sun when I worked. And I know that sounds so small and so trivial, but, now on a lot of days, I can just take my laptop out beside my pool and work, and I wouldn't trade that for anything. So, yeah, success is freedom for me.
No, that's so relatable, I think, to a lot of us. I remember I worked a full-time job and a part-time job to pay off my car before I went to university. And I remember looking out the window, looking at all the traffic going by, and I felt so trapped. I knew there was so much more out there for me. And so I just think a lot of people out there can relate to that because we need those jobs, those paychecks to pay for our bills, but also to take the opportunities to look at what we can work on before we let those jobs go to see what's possible. Because now that I've scratched the surface and you have too, it just has opened this whole other world of opportunities and the people I've met, collaborated with, and that my clients that I've been able to work with, like you have, I'm sure. It's just been a really amazing opportunity. I want others to be able to see what is possible for them too. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you, and it was so lovely meeting you.
Thank you so much for having me on. I enjoyed our conversation so much.
Thanks again for tuning into this week's episode of the Online Creator Podcast. If you haven't subscribed to the show yet, please do so on your favorite media player. And come check us out over on YouTube, where you'll have full access to our episodes on video there. You can check out the important links mentioned in today's episode in the show notes, and please join the conversation over on Instagram at May and James Co. I'll see you next week.